Stories of One Life, Episode 8, The Fight for Yourself, Part 1, When You Can't Run Anymore. Daniel sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the floor. The room was quiet, but his mind was loud. He could hear his own thoughts like a broken radio. You're wasting your life. You're scared. You're stuck. The sunlight came through the window, touching the old wooden floor. It was a new day, but Daniel did not feel new. He felt tired. Not the kind of tired you fix with sleep, the kind you feel in your bones. He was 23 now, not a boy anymore, but not the man he wanted to be. 3 years ago, he had big dreams. He wanted to leave his small town. He wanted to build something. He wanted to become someone. But now, he worked at a small warehouse outside town, loading boxes, unloading trucks. Same place, same noise, same smell, same day, again and again. And every evening he came home and felt empty. Daniel stood up and walked to the mirror. He looked at himself. Same face, same tired eyes, same quiet anger. He whispered, "Is this really my life?" No answer. The moment that changed everything. That morning, Daniel was late for work, not because he slept too much, but because he did not want to go. He sat in his car with the engine off, hands on the wheel, staring at the road. Then his phone buzzed. A message from his old friend, Marcus. Marcus. "Bro, I'm back in town. Want to grab coffee today?" Daniel read it twice. Marcus. The guy who left town 5 years ago. The guy who always talked about big plans. The guy everyone said would fail. But Marcus didn't fail. He left. He struggled. He worked. And now he was back. For a visit. Daniel typed, "Yeah, after work?" Marcus. "Perfect, 6 p.m., old cafe on Main Street." Daniel started the engine. And for the first time in months, he felt something move inside him. Coffee and truth. The cafe had not changed. Same small tables, same soft music, same smell of coffee and cinnamon. Daniel walked in and saw Marcus sitting near the window. Marcus looked different. Not rich, not perfect, but stronger, calmer, more alive. They hugged. "Man, look at you," Marcus said. "Still here?" Daniel smiled, but it hurt. "Yeah," Daniel said. "Still here." They sat down, ordered coffee. For a moment, they talked about small things, weather, old friends, town news. Then Marcus leaned back and said, "So, how are you really?" Daniel didn't answer right away. He looked at his coffee, then at Marcus. "I feel stuck," he said. Marcus nodded slowly. "Yeah, I know that feeling." Daniel took a breath. "I'm scared, man. I keep thinking I'll change tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes." Marcus stayed quiet. Then he said, "Can I tell you something honest?" Daniel nodded. Marcus leaned forward. "Nobody is coming to save you." The words hit hard. Marcus continued. "No boss, no friend, no miracle. If you want a different life, you have to fight for it." Daniel felt his chest tighten. "Fight how?" he asked. Marcus smiled a little. "By doing the things you're afraid to do. The first step is ugly." That night, Daniel walked home instead of driving. He needed to think. The streetlights turned on one by one. The air was cool. The town was quiet. Marcus's words stayed in his head. Fight for it. Daniel stopped on a small bridge and looked at the water below. I don't even know where to start, he said to himself. But deep inside, he knew. He had been running from one thing for years. Responsibility. Not for others. For himself. The decision. When Daniel got home, he didn't turn on the TV. He sat at his small desk, opened his old laptop. It was slow, loud, almost broken. Just like his life felt. He opened a blank document, and at the top he wrote, "My new life plan." Then he stared at the screen. Nothing came. His hands felt heavy. His mind felt empty. Then he typed the first honest line he had written in years. I am tired of being scared. And something inside him broke open. He started typing. Not perfect words, not smart words, just real ones. I don't like my job. I don't like who I've become. I want more from my life. I don't want to die in this town. His heart was beating fast. This was not dreaming anymore. This was a fight. The first action. The next morning, Daniel did something new. He woke up early. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to. He put on his old running shoes, went outside, and started running. Slow, ugly, out of breath in 2 minutes. But he kept going. Past the houses, past the empty streets, past the version of himself that wanted to quit. When he stopped, his chest was on fire. His legs hurt, but his mind was clear. For the first time in a long time, he felt strong. Not on the outside, but inside.
Part 2. The fight gets real. Daniel's legs still hurt from the morning run. Every step at work reminded him of it. But the pain felt different now. Not weak, not useless. It felt like proof that he had done something. At the warehouse, nothing had changed. Same noise, same dust, same tired faces. But Daniel had changed. Inside, something was awake. He loaded boxes, but his mind was not there anymore. It was on his desk at home, on that document, on the words he had written. I am tired of being scared. At lunch, instead of scrolling his phone, he opened a notebook and wrote again. Not dreams, not fantasy, just actions. He wrote, find a better job, learn a new skill, save money, leave this town. His heart beat faster, not from fear this time, from focus. After work, instead of going home, Daniel went to the public library. He had not been there since high school. It smelled like old books and quiet. He sat at a computer and searched, How to Change Your Life When You Feel Stuck. Thousands of results. He clicked one, then another. He read about people who started over at 25, 30, even 40. People who failed, people who were scared, people who still moved forward. Daniel whispered, if they can, maybe I can too. He spent 2 hours there, reading, writing, thinking. For the first time, he didn't feel lost. He felt like a beginner, and that felt good. That night, he didn't fall asleep with the TV on. He lay in the dark and saw his future in pieces. Not clear, not perfect, but possible. The next day, he woke up early again. He ran again. It was still hard, still ugly, still slow, but now he wanted it. At work, his boss yelled at someone for dropping a box. Daniel watched the scene and felt something rise in him. Not anger, not fear, clarity. He thought, I don't belong here forever. After his shift, he walked into the office. His boss looked up, surprised. Yeah? Daniel felt his hands shake, but his voice stayed calm. I want to ask about extra hours, Daniel said. I need more work. The boss raised an eyebrow. You? Yeah, Daniel said. Me. The boss leaned back. You serious? Daniel nodded. I am. That night, Daniel worked late. He was tired, his back hurt, but inside he felt proud. This was not about money only, this was about discipline. Every day after that, Daniel ran in the morning, worked harder in the day, and studied at night. His life became simple. Run, work, learn, sleep. No excuses. Some days he wanted to quit. Some days he felt small again. Some nights he looked at his ceiling and thought, this is too much. But then he remembered Marcus's words, nobody is coming to save you. So Daniel saved himself, one hard day at a time. 3 weeks passed. His body looked stronger, his mind felt sharper, his fear felt smaller. One evening he met Marcus again. They sat in the same cafe. Marcus looked at him and smiled. You look different. Daniel laughed. Yeah, I feel different. Marcus nodded. That's what fighting looks like. Daniel took a sip of coffee and said, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm moving. Marcus raised his cup. To movement. They clinked cups. Daniel didn't know exactly where he was going, but he knew one thing. He was not standing still anymore. Part 3. The fight becomes a path. Daniel woke up before the alarm. The room was still dark, but his mind was already moving. He sat on the edge of the bed and felt his heart beating steady and strong. Not rushed, not scared, just ready. He put on his shoes and went outside. The air was cold. The sky was still gray. He started running, slow at first, then stronger. His breath made small clouds in front of him. Each step felt like a promise, not to the world, to himself. While he ran, he thought about his life, not the past, not the mistakes, but the direction. He didn't need everything to be perfect. He just needed to keep moving. After the run, he showered and got dressed for work. But today felt different, not because the job had changed, but because Daniel had. At the warehouse, he didn't look at the clock every 10 minutes anymore. He worked with focus, with purpose. He knew this place was not his future, but it was part of his training. It was building his strength, his discipline, his patience. During lunch, he sat alone and wrote in his notebook again. I am not lucky. I am not special, but I am trying, and that is enough for now. That afternoon, something unexpected happened. His boss called him into the office. Daniel walked in, calm but curious. The boss looked at him and said, You've been different lately. Daniel didn't speak. You work more, you complain less, you focus, the boss continued. What changed? Daniel thought for a second and said, I decided to take my life seriously. The boss nodded slowly. Good. People like that don't stay stuck forever. Those words stayed with Daniel all day. That evening, he didn't go straight home. He went back to the library, sat at the same computer, opened the same search page. But this time, he didn't type how to change your life. He typed something new. How to start over in a new city with no money. He smiled a little. This was real now. He read about jobs, rooms for rent, training programs, night schools. Not dreams anymore, just steps. When he got home, he packed a small box.
just in case, not to leave tomorrow, not to run away, but to prepare. Inside the box, he put his notebook, his running shoes, and the old photo of him and Marcus as teenagers, standing on the edge of town, looking at the road. That night, Daniel stood by his window and looked at the street below. Same street, same town, but he was not the same man. He whispered, "I'm coming for my life." Not loud, not angry, just honest. He knew the fight was not over. Maybe it never would be, but now the fight had a direction. It had a reason. Daniel was no longer running from himself. He was running toward something, toward growth, toward courage, toward the man he was becoming. And if you liked this part of the story, subscribe, leave a like, and stay with us to find out what happens next.